Deme D, man. Hip hop was good, man. Y'all already know what it is, man. It's Deme D, Mr. Everywhere, You Never There. You here with DagogetaTv. This is another episode of On Deck with Deme, where we salute a lot of artists who've been putting in work who may be flying under your radar, but they got that work, they got the catalog, and they out here still working. And today, man, I got another guy here who's been putting in that work. My guy D Chamberz, man.
I land in the money, I drip it with swag, heavy gold on the neck. Ay, call up Choppy with the choppers. See a op, get the chopping. Seafood, drop shit. I really rap to bring it back to the essence. Rap before Christmas, before you open the presents. Chunky Herc shining, I'm drip to flood the desert. Really wanna win, do more than ride. G5 flying high, seeing the way I'm making my move.
What's good, my guy?
What's up, man? You know I'm 6'2", no time for the small talk. Living with that warrior mentality and ambition to go get it. G5 flying, swerving in that caddy. You know, I just give you that ambition, that warrior mentality to go get it every morning. That's what I do out here.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. So listen, man. Let's start off, man. Let's just start off with the basics, man. The name, D Chamberz.
That's my real name abbreviated.
Okay. Well, okay.
Those that know me know my real name.
Dope. So then I mean, plain and simple, then, man.
Yeah.
So what I like to start with, though, man, on this show is a question I ask everybody: what does hip hop mean to you? Especially people who've been putting so much time into it, so much energy, and you know, what does it mean to you?
Well, hip hop means a lot. I think it also will show you where you're headed in life, like the type of music you listen to, or the style of music, or who you. Because to me personally, I learned that later on. Because I also know the type of energy you give out is the same energy you get back. So
absolutely. So
I started watching the moguls of hip hop, people that was life changing, and they could change your life whether through words or their swag or their demeanor or how they handle business in the industry, longevity, and how they provided for others. So when I study hip hop, yeah, I love the lyrical asset of it, but I also cherish, be like, yo, they did this through music. So hip hop was able to provide, a life for me and my family. I'm not super duper rich, but I'm living off what I'm doing. Like, I'm doing okay for myself. Car outside, condo. I'm taking trips. I'm moving around, selling merch. I have a whole bunch of apparel, WM apparel, and a whole movement to stand behind me. So like, hip hop is a lot for me.
Down, salute to hip hop, man. That's why I want to have these type of segments, man, because you like you mentioned, you getting things, but you put into it.
Right.
So people understand you get what you put,
Hip hop is definitely an investment. You gotta look at hip hop as an investment, and you gotta look at it as show business as well. Because in show business, you gotta show your business. You gotta see like, what are you really doing out here? Because nobody really wants to chuck a job with somebody who's bullshitting all day and possibly have everybody in poverty. At some point, they're gonna leave, get better, or they're gonna leave and get worse.
Right. I mean, you mentioned a good point too, about it being show business. Well, I think a lot of people get lost on that part, and I think that affects.
It depends what you're talking about, lyrically or business.
This one, so I think it affects, how they handle their business because they forget about that part. So it's good to hear that you already have both aspects on your mind. And
shout out to Chanel. Chanel McFadden was one of my PRs early in my career. And me, I just thought it was the lyrics, the bars, the pictures.
I mean, we're from New York, man.
I thought it was the bars, the pictures, the handshakes you meet, the phone calls that you receive. But she put it out there. She was like, yeah, you D Chamberz from Coney Island, but you don't have a brand. How you expect money? Like, people, and at first it was like, what are you talking about? Everybody did that. But I couldn't answer it because everything I had on was somebody else's. I had to figure out a brand. And then I figured it out later on. I met Sincere. He showed me how to run an office, and once he gave me my small space to sell my office, then I got tired of paying for hourly studio time. So eventually I figured out how to barter service with studios and become partners with them, not just in one borough, in all 5 boroughs.
Okay,
so it became a business. It then led to concerts, then it led to events, and here we are today.
So I want to salute to that person. So you said Sincere?
Yeah, Sincere.
Okay, so salute to them,
Shout out to Sincere. He out there at ATL. I heard he bought 2 clubs, but this pandemic, you know me. But that brother took time out to even show me how to hold conversations in meetings.
Right. So that's why I wanted to salute, because that's major. Like you said, you could have the talent. Even what you just said right there, man. I wanna reiterate on that. You said he helped you, showed you how to have conversations in meetings. Because there's certain way you
always was good, right? But I couldn't close a deal for shit.
It's different. It's not just being able to speak. It's still a certain type of lingo, and it helps when somebody can at least give you some insight on it. I think that's dope. So I mean, my next question, it seems like you kind of answered it. I was gonna say, you know, it's kind of generic, but everyone's answer is different. What inspired you to rap? But I'm guessing everything. That
like
you
I
just
said,
talked about.
you know, I'm from Coney Island. You know,
Shout out to the CI. Shout out to my CI niggas, man.
The last stop in New York. So a lot of the times, we just watch ball players, drug dealers. Like when Steph made it, basketball was the thing to do. You know, of course, there was others before them. Like people don't even know Buckshot Shorty Yada is from Coney Island, but you would think he's from Crown Heights or something like that. But it took basketball to put the light on Coney Island, and then rappers and other stuff came out there, and it became the lifestyle to want to be a part of. Like, but before that, yeah, I could say Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, whatever was on, like, B-Cat channel, Netflix, you know, the 36, right. 68 channels at night, but you know, you stand up late and you be like, yo, this guy's actually cool. And you watching Jay-Z with the Lex, and then you watching Nas, you watching Cool G Rap, and you be like, yo, you know what? I wanna get into that. But I think DMX was the one that made me listen to a whole album. Okay. And I can honestly say that DMX, I listened to him. It was Big Punisher, and I was like, when I listened to Big Punisher album and I was listening to DMX, those were only two people. And then Cameron, I just always thought he was witty, arrogant.
It's a killer, man.
And I always, you know, he's in my top 5 if people know it or not.
Killer?
Yeah, definitely killer.
So real quick, so then what's your favorite Killer album?
SDE.
Alright.
You know what I mean? Even what's that, Come Home With Me?
Come Home With Me. I mean, I'm a Killer fan too, so I fucks with Killer catalog heavy.
And that's because he's a street, once again, he's a hustler. That was a businessman and survived off the culture. He inspired the culture on how he do best. But there's other artists, it's like Jay-Z as well. Like I like the way Jay-Z handled business. Rick Ross, like 50 Cent, like Master P. You know, I follow those guys. You know what I mean?
So you were saying, because that was my next question as well. It's like we insane right now. So you would say, coming up, you would say who you listen to the most would be DMX.
It was Jay, Nas, DMX, Cam.
Who's somebody you would say kind of would surprise people, or kind of like your personal favorite?
2 Chainz.
2 Chainz, okay, dope. I mean, Chinx is dope though. Chinx been around for a minute too.
Yeah, I definitely like 2 Chainz, Jeezy, AR Ab. You know, but he's dope under, you know, free AR Ab. Definitely an AR Ab fan.
Too.
And you know, I was playing his music even to this day, and he was like, yo, AR Ab out. Nah, still blasting that AR Ab. Definitely, like, there's certain music I coast to, and then even Kevin Gates. I've been listening to Kevin Gates. You know what I mean? And that's me not being a hater. I'm real enough to shout it out. You know, so this Umbrella Studios, man, it's always gonna be popping. Somebody make it dope.
Man, listen, that's why we keep it here, man. Always something brewing. But so I want to salute to Gates too, though. I want to salute to Gates too. So you mentioned a lot of the people, or rather, you mentioned a lot of the things that you're doing. What would you say is the transition for you where it become a aspiration? Like, what was the first step to getting started? And then I want to know what would you say was the point where you felt like you transitioned from aspiring to making a living, or to having an actual brand like this?
Alright, for those who don't know, I went to college, I went to school. Everybody, you know, I had best of both worlds.
Yeah, talk to them like they don't know you.
For those who don't know, you know, I had best of both worlds. You know, 1 year college, I thought I was gonna be a sports doctor because I got hit by a car when I was younger and told I was never gonna walk again.
Wow.
And then that sports doctor put it in my head, you can walk. Like, what are you doing?
Okay,
and eventually I listened to him, and I wanted to become that guy. You know what I mean? So I was able to study different psychology, or how to just get the mind to believe that he could do something. So with that, you know, music still, I was still like dabbing in the street, this, that, and eventually the street weighed out the pros and cons. But once I had my daughter, I was trying to slow down, so music was something I was just edging on. And at that time, nobody believed in rappers. Like, you know what I mean?
This
like, coming around.
What year, what time is this around?
Like 03, 04. Like, you had to be hustling. You had to been you had to have the new jerseys, the new big chains, the new car outside. We talking 2004 with Smack DVDs is in the street, Come Up DVDs is in the street, Cutmaster
Still not online crazy yet. Still not digital.
MySpace.
It's just getting there.
Like shit like that, but we wasn't checking for that.
Just
like we
Napster and shit like that.
And like me, I wanted a car at that time. You know, I was doing rapper things without rapping. You know what I'm saying? So like nobody really knew I was going to embrace it, and then shortly after my man Liaison We was all doing like the Maya, because I always was dabbing with it, but I never took it serious. That's why I tell people all the time. I knew Sycamore before the industry.
Shout out to
Yeah, because with Sycamore used to have the instrumentals downtown Brooklyn.
Right.
Shout out to G, you know, that spot has moved and gone towards downtown Brooklyn, so gentrified.
Good old days,
you won't even know what's going on. So I used to actually wait for Sycamore, because I knew he would get off the train right there and drop a whole bag of new instrumentals, and then Smack would come through, but Smack never came. He would always send somebody else to drop the DVD, so I used to take the numbers and really follow up on it.
Okay.
But by that time...
So you took the numbers off the Smack DVD, right?
Yeah,
I don't want to skip over that, so that's taking
the CDs. The CDs.
That's taking initiative right there.
Yeah, and then by that time it was like kind of like a little too late, because I already had like two pending charges, two pending charges, and I was already on probation.
Shit going on in your life.
Yeah, so like eventually when they ran a concurrent, did the year, all I had was the contacts that I had before I went in. So when I came out in like 08 and got off parole in 09, I already decided this is what I wanted to do. You know, when I met up with Math, my man Liaison was already doing stuff with Smack. Then I got up with Math. Math was doing, you know, this is fresh off the Math Hoffa, like fresh off the Dose thing. I didn't know him at that time.
So that was just a relationship that you came from?
Yeah, I was looking for Sycamore, and I think Derek Jeter, we was all in Don Hills in the spot, and you know, Sycamore was just introducing me. He was telling me he was leaving to LA at the time, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. All I knew was 09 or 10, all I knew was Smack. I came home, I knew Smack. Smack, you know, being that I didn't battle, I was always able to have different conversations with Beasley, Chico, and Smack. You know what I mean? Norbs was always there, but Norbs was managing Liaison and Math at the time. Okay. So I was on parole, so I couldn't hang around like that. So a lot of the time, people thought I was just tagging along, like the street dude just came home from jail, and I got the Coney Island with me, and you know, they was like,
get busy though, right?
You could have, but you know, in battle rap, at that culture, you could freestyle, but the concentration is on the battle rap.
No, I mean, you couldn't really move around and get busy and try to build. Yeah, I feel you.
I couldn't move at all. Yeah. But shout out to Lil Fame, MOP at that time, like 09, 010, those that know, like everybody thought I was gonna sign the MOP, you know, cause Lil Fame and G, they was, you know, driving me around, chopping it up. And I was just learning different ways to record. Well, like this is Lil Fame transcending into a producer, because he was producing.
Around now we're talking 2010.
He produced like 4 or 5 tracks, but then, you know, I know he was in management contracts, label contracts, and it was always like, yo, don't put it out, don't put it out, don't put it out, don't put it out, yo, you can't put it out, wait till it's mixed back. And now I'm watching the whole 09, 010, you know, Core, Math, they still battling. I'm still getting that love, but there's no music on the radio. There's no, certain things I wanted, I knew wasn't there.
Right, they're going in a different path than you really trying to take at that time.
And then I think somewhere around 11, 12, Fred the Godson got on radio. P got on radio, and these are my friends.
Yeah, and around that time.
Yeah, and they always picked up the phone. Like Cortez, one day, Cortez, Math, Charlie Clips, they invite all of us to the studio. And I didn't get on that track, but that was their thing. And then I just called Fred the next day, and we did a record, and it was with Jadakiss called Holla at Your Boy. It was, I forgot. I ain't gonna say I forgot who the producer was, but he sent me the beat, and it landed on radio without me having to put $1 to it. And it was crazy because Vinny Idol was supposed to do the beat, but whatever they did with Jada, they worked it out. And then I got the look, which was a good thing, but it still didn't hit the streets. So I had to start learning how to be in club perfection. I had to learn the club, so 13, 14, showing my face. So then it was like, okay, we got it, D Chamberz, he's blah, blah, blah. But the street's not with me. So then I decided, I already knew Uncle Murder, because Tune Heads, RP Proof, my man Cooch, always used to have me and Uncle Murder around each other before I went to jail. Like, you know. Okay,
so you pretty much around all that class of everyone trying to come.
Right, it's just that I wasn't on it the way they was on it. You know what I'm saying? I was a student of the game. That I would like to say.
I was saying, you soaking up a lot of, you soaked up a lot of game, a lot of info. So that, and just from your mindset and during the course of this interview, you can see that a lot of it's paid off. So
yeah, I mean, it was a lot of perception of like it's happening already, but it is happening.
I think that's a lot. I think that's a lot of aspiring artist problems already. I think that's tough though, because you don't know when to feel like, okay, this is it. Because then every time something little happens, you start thinking,
adrenaline rush. It's a high. It's a cocaine high.
So
it's a weed high. It's a high. The fame, the amount of cameras, is a high. A great performance is a high. Like your next best move is a high. So you constantly. That's why they have other states, continents, and land. It's a high seeing something different and trying to conquer those lands. But, with New York, they got to see the streets behind you. The nerds got to be behind you. The fashionistas, the PRs got to be behind you. If they believe in what you're pitching, then you will be heard. You can't just be high off that high. You got to get higher, and that's what's going on.
This,
you know what I mean? And that's just real rap. And I'm real enough to say I watched everybody around me do their thing. You know what I mean? And you know, we have those conversations like, yo, once this happened, it's happened for all of us, and it never was the case. And you have to learn to just like stand on your own. You know what I mean? And that's what I learned to do. Created that brand warrior mentality. WMMG, Warrior Mentality Music Group, is official LLC now. I have an office in Brooklyn. It's my second office. You know, I do a lot of good things behind the scene, not just for myself, for people outside the culture as well.
That's good to hear, man. And again, that's probably why you're receiving these things from the culture, because you're putting into the culture.
You gotta give it back.
You're not trying to cheat. You're not trying to, you know.
No, you can't cheat the system. You can't cheat talent. You can't cheat the grind. Because I'll be honest with you, there's probably some people that don't like me today because I do business. And once I learned to separate friends from business, there was a large margin of people I probably still wish the best for them. But once the business is keeping me alive. And I can honestly say on this camera, I have to give it to Rico. You know, he's real estate master franchises. Like when I was, while doing music, I wanted to get into the real estate field. So he had a studio in the basement, and this is me around 015, 016, around then. Shake the Block, shit jumping. You know what I mean? Me and Manola Rose about to do a record, and I still ain't get hot, but the streets is like, oh, that's the nigga who did the song Uncle Murder.
Your name is catching on.
Yeah, I'm the guy who did the song Uncle Murder, Shake the Block. I'm here, my first time South by Southwest Texas, allhiphop.com, DigiWax, things of that nature. Watching 5,000 people performing, getting the whole texture of seeing new music with New York music clashing in front of a large crowd. That's not even what I'm talking about. Rico used to just put it like, yo, your lifestyle, like, what do rappers want? But you gotta live, you gotta eat, you got a girl, you just gotta go, what are you doing? You gonna rap all day? And like, once he was drilling me with that and I realized how people respected money, your conversation becomes a little more easier when you obtain certain things.
Absolutely.
And I always obtained something, but now I wanted it more. And I wanted better stuff. I didn't want the average, I want more. And I started drilling myself with that. So I think that's where the stay motivated, mind frame come, understand that some people just can't do business.
Some people just can't do it.
Nah, because even if you ask for money that's due to you to keep the lights on, it might be too much. They probably feel like you're supposed to just do it.
You're supposed to just do it.
Nah.
And it can affect, like you said, you gotta have a certain strong mindset, and like you said, I guess a lot of things you've been through prepared you for that. Because it could break a lot of people, it could discourage a lot of people.
I think you probably could take a strong person to take a day or two to get their shit together.
Yeah, it's not to say that it don't affect you, because even with
because I know a lot of people cashed out, and
you cash out.
They're doing odd jobs, they doing shit that they don't want to do, and that's not me. And I've been signed that deal a long time ago, like not no contract for a major label. No, I signed the deal saying this is gonna be my life, and I'm gonna be a mogul in this industry, because I was working local 79. I was a union member.
You know what it is to be in the trenches.
Yo, calluses I still can mix cement, but I just knew what it was. You hire, you fire me. Like, I have a couple bands this week, I'm fired next week. I can't really do what I want to do. I'm tired, my back hurt, bricks, blocks. Shout out to everybody that does that. And there are some people who are built to be carpenters like Jesus. I'm not that guy. I know how to do business. I know how to make things work. I know how to make $1 from it. And once I figured out how to make $1 daily so it can add up like a worthy thing,
that's the goal.
And that was my goal. Like, I think a lot of people get in this thing and they overdo the goal. and then they wind up pressing themselves up out of this
Do
shit.
they really have a plan though? I think that takes an effect too, because you. Another thing is, you see like you have your plan.
I had to get the plan though. I could say I was lost for a long time, and that's why I say when people be like, "Yo, how long you been doing music?" I be like, "Well, I've been doing music for for a while, but doing the business 3-4 years." Because when I started asking for money, and I know why why I'm here, I know why I'm performing, I know why I'm rapping, I know why you want me to do the verse. You hear me on the radio, you see it on. I invested in myself to make you wanna do business with me. So let's do business, and then when you realize you go out of state, and you realize some of your own peers and friends, and you realize the number they tell them, and they go out the way and get that money, you know what I mean? You be like, wow, and it's just left field. It's just left field, definitely left field.
Because in this game, it's not like sports, I guess. Like there's no numbers, could just be whatever. There's no dictated numbers. The phrase I hear all the time is, you negotiate with your worth, not what you deserve. So
I just think how the image you put out there is what you get back. If you want to front and act like you on boats and yachts, eventually you're going to be on a boat and yacht, because that's where you headed. People with boats is going to talk to you. So like if you're into fashion, you into clothes, you into branding, that's what it's going to be. Yeah, that's what it's going to be. You know what I mean?
So salute though, man, and I hope a lot of what you're saying can sink in with the people and serve as motivation. But I want to take a quick step back. When you first started, man, because you from New York, man, and any nigga know from New York, and you said this is around 2003. Everybody.
I was always around. Like, see what it is? Like, I went to the same school as Spike Lee. Like, I didn't go to a school that had basketball teams or nothing like that. So that was the weirdest thing. I was great in basketball, good at it and all of this. After getting hit by a car, all of this shit. Like, I stood up and then I was able to stand on things, but then it was theater, arts, dance, production, live bands. Oh. Those are like the majors in John Dewey. After that, it's architect, being a scientist. You know what I'm saying? That's the high school I was in. Of course I ain't finished the shit, but because they gave us college treatment. Like, like you go to...
As you please.
No, you do two periods, you set it up. I do 2 English, I'm going to take 2 periods off. So yeah, 45 minutes to go downtown Brooklyn, come back, and then go back to the school, and you got lunch, and it's just, like, I just think by the 10th or 11th grade somewhere, my mind, I thought I was Stephon. Everybody thought they was going to just make it off basketball or acting or something at that time. But knowing business, knowing sound, knowing how things supposed to look on camera, I think that pioneered it easier for me to understand this business. And I always tap into the game table like a long time ago and just see what's happening now.
Yeah, you got a long journey, been around a lot of people too, and you've been in a position, from what it sounds like, to watch, to avoid certain mistakes that you didn't have to go through firsthand too. So salute to that.
Right. Shout out to South Carolina, 10 Mile Island, because I remember my mom sent me down there on some Fresh Prince of Bel-Air shit. I was going through too much shit, and my friend RP Jason, Foot, he got stabbed up, and my mom's thought I was next, and she just moved me out of here. And thought I was gonna play ball and do all that, get my act together in South Carolina, and my grades didn't match. And then I used to just listen to like Daz Effects and tapes that was just left around. Like people would be like, "Yo, you listen to that?" I was like, "Yeah, that's the tapes I had." Like Tupac.
Especially back then.
Yeah, like
you can't.
That's
just
why I say.
shit
That's why I say when I came back to New York in the early 2000s, it was DMX for me. It was the Nas, the J's for me.
Right, and that's the next wave.
Yeah, and then like of course I watched the 50 wave, but I still wasn't in it. I was watching it. And I think when I came home, that's why I was like, yo, I recognize you. I heard your name. Just a lot of people know the name but don't know the face.
And that goes with what you're saying about the branding. Like sometimes your name could be ahead of you, or sometimes they might know your face from the video but not know your name. Right. So I guess the point is to get them both aligned at the same time and pushing. So with that being said, what would you say is like your first song you felt got a lot of traction, or that got you out there, more recognized or more spins?
I'm French though.
French though?
I'm French though, without a doubt. Like, that was the first time that I lived on radio for like 2 years. That was the first time, shout out to D Nice, to produce Nice and Wavy. I recorded at 906 Music at the time. And that record, because the hype was already there. I was already in the Bronx with my co-boys, the homies, all on Fairmont, Clinton. That's how I met the guy from this studio, you know what I mean, Cover.
Shout out to Cover, man.
You know what I mean, Group Boy Pop. But once again, we talking 2012. 2012, I still wasn't, I was just bumping into the Cook Boys in the clubs, and I would just be uptown a lot. You know what I mean? That's when
still kind of rising at that time,
so,
too,
but like when Chinx was getting on fire, like 15, 16, you know, I was doing my thing too, but just in Brooklyn. And like, you know, Coke Boys had it. So when Chinx died, I had a record with Chinx, and he spoke about stack bundles. I was kind of really baiting on and waiting on bringing Far Rock and Coney Island together.
That would have been dope.
Yeah, and then like when Chinx passed, that slowed that down. So I had to do a lot of freestyles, a lot of reconstruction, dealing with that. Everybody was, you know, was sad. Everybody was sad.
Yeah, he was next up, man. And he was
sad.
You know,
he had that sound.
Dude.
Yeah.
You know, I never heard no sucker shit or nothing about him. And you know, I'm from Queens, man. We was waiting for Chinx. So RP to Chinx, RP to Stacks too, man. RP to Fred too. You mentioned Fred earlier. So I mean, so right now, you know, with the journey and
damn, they all dead. That's crazy.
That's why I had to give them that moment, and that's one of the reasons why again I wanted to start on Deck Wit Deme. Because like a guy like Fred, man, been holding New York down for a fucking minute, and then it's still.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of people appreciated him later. But and I mean, he was great at what he do, but you know, let's act like, you know, let's get over that. Like, let's give people their flowers while they're here. Like a lot of people don't be wanting to mention that. Just like the same with Prodigy, just like the same with a lot of these artists, and you know, they wait for you to go in the ground to show you all of this stuff. Like Pop Smoke, that, you know, I love Pop Smoke music, you know what I mean? But just the week before he died, they were just clowning the album. Let's keep it real. Like now, you can't live or die without him, and you know what I mean, give him his flowers while they're here. You know what I mean? Nipsey been saying the same stuff. I was out in Cali, you know what I mean? Shout out to everybody at Slauson, shout out to everybody at the Marathon. Everybody want to buy the shirts. It's a line to take a picture against the wall.
It's trendy.
Like you know, Nipsey been talking about this for the longest. You know, he received a lot of love while he was here, but
he did.
The amount of love he received while he was gone is like astronomical. Like if you ever take time out, I study the market too much and how people move. Every time somebody passed away, I check their last couple of posts and hits before they passed away.
You see the difference.
It's sad, bro. I think he would have loved 10,000 comments. Like,
even with the dude, I'm not really familiar with his music, but Triple X Tension, or however you say that, no disrespect. But I even noticed that with him. I noticed before that, you know, he had some
the kids loved him. My
daughter he had some
depressed.
Fans, and the people talked about him.
Yeah.
But after that, everybody's a fan. So, you know, just show these people love, man. That's one of the reasons why I want to do too. So right now, what are you working on right now? Are you thinking album, or are you just thinking more mixtape, or just trying to get more music?
What was going on, like during the pandemic, I kept the whole culture alive for the Cultures No Gimmicks. I was just throwing out different freestyle challenges, and I built up a lot of impressions on that. Like it was up to like 250,000 impressions, and I was like, yo, this shit is crazy. And it was just freestyles, and I think it came from just posting other people dope freestyles, whether it was trash or hot or fire. I found a lot of different people that was tuned into my page. Once I did that, Quarantine Vibes, shout out to Cover once again. Me and Jacquay had the single on there. And then, what was the name of that single again, man? With Jacquay? Hey, I just know the chorus. You ain't about it.
You ain't about it.
You ain't about it. You know what I mean?
Let's just run that back real quick. Just tell them the name of the single.
Yeah, nah, but you don't have to fucking keep that shit authentic, bro. Niggas smoke weed. I'm looking at the blunt right now. Yeah, Jacquay, you ain't about it. We came here. We knocked out the record. And JJ Rivera, shout out to French. I beat him to the punch. I was feeling like French, and I beat him to the punch because they was about to put that record out. I could have swore to God, you know, it's a JJ Rivera sample, but I don't think nobody was thinking about it until we previewed it. Okay. And I just know, like, the masses are watching me. I'm smart enough to know the masses are watching me, and I'm smart enough to know how to get music to DJs. And when they know it's hot, they're putting it out. We talk about that BMI shit later, you know what I'm saying? Get hot, put it out, do the business, and then, you know, get that momentum. So I put out Quarantine Vibes, feature Hands, you know, it's the artist. He's from Coney Island, he's NYB. He's very well known in the battle culture. He was in the Caffeine tournament. McCrow, he's a dope producer. I kept like Hattie Racks, you know, I fuck with Hattie Racks. And it's a lot of good people I wanted to put on the project, but that vibe I was in was dark. You know what I mean? A lot of people I do make music with, they do club music, they get to the bag or having a great time. I was in a dark space. So that was the type of music I was putting out there. So now, after that, I did Jetson. We did Jetson. At G5 Flying, we did Jetson. And then I thought Fabio was going to shoot the video, but Fabio was too busy for TV. That's my guy, but he's busy. So I wasn't going to just wait for Fabio to do something. So when I'm on the radio, keep it going. Me and Cover, I swear to God, me, Cover, Nick Scott, definitely Nick Scott. He been recording me, engineering all my sessions. He know my shit pre-recorded. And we just been not every shit we recorded. You hear on a Lucky Monday. Everything that landed here on Monday was on the radio by Thursday.
Alright, so I'm feeling good, man.
Yeah, you're part of history, bro.
I'm feeling good,
you know what I mean?
man.
This shit never stopped, man. You know what's going on. And then the grind don't stop. As long as I keep that same energy, as long as I keep an open mind.
Yeah, you grinding, man.
And that's what it is. A lot of time people get to a level and they lose that open mind. You know?
Now, what you mean to being receptive to things or just trying new things when you say
all of the above?
Okay. That's true, man, because like you said, people start knowing all the answers and shit when they get to a certain level at times. But so who are some of the people that you worked on? You said I know you did something with you said you did something with Mac.
China Mac. Yeah, China Mac. We just did that, and that was a bonus because he came here. We were supposed to do that record, really though, because we was trying to get Dave East on that record, but I knew that was like. You know, I have something out right now. Not that when it's ready. I'll reach out to Buddha the Future. We know a lot of the same people. It's not hard to get next to people. You know what I mean? So when I have stuff in mind, I have no problem reaching out. So China Mac, Benny the Butcher, Method Man.
So we got some legends and some.
Yeah, I'm boxing with all of them. Even Fabio, even the young homies with that like to do drill music. If you think I'm just boom bapped out, I'll smoke you on the drill record.
I see you switch some of it up. I see you switch some of it
Full
up.
bar piece guard. You know, I put it together. Like I put out dope music, dope content, and I don't just do music to do music. If I'm doing music, I know I'm gonna perform it, or I'm gonna shoot a video for it, or I'm gonna get a certain message, or I'm selling something somewhere. It's a message in the bottle. Big man, warrior mentality, man. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna be wasting no time.
Alright, salute him, man. And then you heard it here first, man. My guy D Chamberz. Salute, man. Make sure you check him out. Make sure you get familiar. So I'm just gonna ask him. Before we get out of here, I'm just gonna ask some hip hop questions, man. Pick your brain. I'm gonna ask, man. You being a Brooklyn guy, CI guy, what are 3 albums that you think are great, or you think are whatever the best from 3 different Brooklyn artists? It could be solo, it could be group. 3 different. I mean, I already know 2 that's gonna be on there on top.
You already know.
Just talk to the people.
Life After Death definitely.
Well, I wasn't expecting that, but okay.
Yeah, Life After Death.
Okay, that's Notorious Big. If I had to tell you, I don't know, but
yeah, Life After Death. Brooklyn. I would say definitely Jay-Z.
Yeah,
the Blue, all of them.
I knew you was gonna say that. That's why I said 3 different ones. I knew you was.
So all of them.
You doing Reasonable Doubt Blueprint?
You know what's the sad part? The new Jay-Z, I gotta tap into because there's certain records I like on it, but like classic Jay-Z, I still listen to that shit. Like Streets is Watching. I honestly believe he started a web series and didn't even know he did because Streets is Watching was the whole web series.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. That shit was dope too.
Right, and it let the streets state property and all that other stuff. Somebody else from Brooklyn.
Do group or solo.
MOP.
There you go, Mash Out Posse.
Come on, man.
Which album we talking about, dog? First Fame? Talking Warriors?
Whatever Rugged Never Smooth was on, that one. You know what I'm saying?
To the
That's
death.
what I was fucking with. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't gonna lie. I was listening, shout out to Slick, shout out to Crystal. You know what I mean? That was my next door neighbors, and I used to just watch MOP, like, being Brownsville, being Coney Island. You hear the stories, you hear the drama.
Mash Out Posse.
Word. And now I'm reliving it. You know what I'm saying? Reliving
that
it.
shit dope, though?
Yo, listen, man. I'm honored to say, like, the people are actually, even down to the other day, I don't even look. Today's the what, 30th?
Today's the 30th.
Like, the 27th, I remember, August 20th. Smooth the Hustler wrote on my page, right? I'm a Smoother Hustler
Salute
fan.
to the guy, man.
Shout out to, and these are real rappers, like rappers, like, you know, that
rappers.
You know what I mean?
His album is dope too.
You know, not taking away from anybody that's doing anything today.
Hey.
I'm just talking about people that is like
You on Deck Wit Deme,
super
man.
creative, super like lyrical, undeniable. Time that
Own
probably
style too. He had his own style.
Smoother Hustler, man.
Once
And
upon
when
a
he
time,
commented, I was like, yo, ASAP, I wrote that on the wall for people to see in caps. We
Gotcha.
have to get one. Like him, Coogee, it's certain icons that I have to get next to.
Who would be the collab where it's like, all right, niggas don't even talk to me no more? Like, is there a collab like that after you get that? Like, yo, and I'm not talking about, you know, other
I don't
collabs.
know if it's possible, but we talk about back in the days, or we talk about now.
Whoever you want, where you and your friends, and you tell your friends, nigga, don't even talk to me, man. Like, I want to track with
I
whoever.
mean, obviously, you get one with Jay.
Both?
Jay.
I mean, I guess you're a Brooklyn nigga, man. I should have known. I should have known.
Or like, you know, you get somebody with Gucci, man, or Jeezy.
I fucks with Go Out.
Yeah, man. I mean, but we talking about overall, like, relax, Jay-Z.
Jay-Z, I mean, I should.
Or Nas, you know what I'm saying?
That's a good one.
You know what I mean? As far as legends, like Coogee rap, I'll be like, okay, it's time for y'all to relax too now. Like, you know what I'm saying? I get on Coogee rap.
Yo, Coogie's still out here though too, man. He's still working with niggas, so.
But I heard he's like in Arizona or something like that. If he was out here, I'd try to get next to him.
He ain't out here. He's still out in the game though, so I don't know.
Nah, he official.
He official
dude.
still.
And like he was, you know, he see this shit transcend. He understand, and now everything come great in 10, 20 years, 2 decades. Everything resurfaces.
Style is what's popular right now.
Yeah, man, come on.
Salute the Coogee rap, man.
Bro, gangster.
So before we get out of here, man, well, I got 2 more for you, man. You spoke on it earlier, but what's an album you would say you played to death when you was a kid? I know you mentioned DMX and you mentioned
Believe it or not, I was only playing singles.
Singles?
I ain't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you said when you came back, X was like the first full joint you heard from.
Right. Believe it or not, I was on a lot of West Coast time,
Oh, really?
too. Yeah, I actually believed in Ice Cube. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was fucking with Ice Cube.
I fuck with Ice Cube.
And you know what I mean? Those real New Yorkers will know. Like, I think real New Yorkers will know. Like, I don't want to make it seem like.
Niggas fuck with
Because then as I got older, I realized he wrote a lot of people's music. He did a lot of things behind the scenes. He wrote movies.
Got 2 separate groups.
He was the most underrated, last thought about person. And look, we found out years later, Ice Cube been that guy.
Thought he was finished and shit. Shout
Been
out
that
to
guy.
Don Mega, man.
And shout out to his son, you know, I just saw him in the movie with Den of Thieves, fire. Like, I'm going into the film world too. Shout out to Deion Taylor. Shout out to 5 Mics for the introduction. Aogi Films. You know I'm working on a battle rap film. I'm going on the big screen, be sitting in the chair, probably with a black t-shirt, getting to it. Yeah, I'm the new Morris Chestnut of this shit. You know that. You heard it, but you didn't know. I'm one of the...
Y'all heard it here. You said Morris Chestnut?
I'm Morris Chestnut of this rap shit.
Hey, man, listen, this is the whole New York down. That's all you got to do, man. Word up. So before we close out, man, roll-up of choice, man, for the people. What's your roll-up of choice?
Top shelf. You know what I'm saying?
Man. On Deck with Deme, man. Got my guy D Chamberz, man. Make sure you look out and catch up. Hip hop, you already know, man. We out.
Whoop they.
Deme D, man. Hey, fan.